Let's get right to it. Joined by a very special guest. It is Tennessee kicker Josh Turbyville. Josh, just out of workouts. Josh, how are you, sir? Hey, I'm well. I appreciate the time. Tell us how workouts are going. We want to talk about this upcoming season, how you continue to progress and that sort of thing. And but tell me how spring went, how workouts are currently going.
Well, spring went pretty great, with spring ball and everything. We start with school and then we go right into football, which for about 2, 3 weeks, it's basically like fall camp, but it's hot outside. And then we just finished up that, and that was good. Spring game went well, went kind of how I wanted it to. And then now we're just in workouts and preparing for finals.
So, Josh, obviously, Chase McGrath was a transfer and then was one and done 2 years ago. Then Charles Campbell this past year. There's kind of open competition for the place kicker job right now. How have you and JT Carver embraced that so far?
I mean, it's been great. Like, even from coming in with Chase and Charles, you come in and then they bring in a transfer, and the best thing you can do in those situations is kind of sit back and realize these guys have been kicking in college football for 6 years. So to sit back and learn from them was pretty great. And then now me, JT, and even with Max Gilbert, who also came in last year as a freshman, we all get to compete and make each other better every day.
How did you come up with that attitude, which is the right one to have? That maybe I don't have as much experience, but I can learn, even though that means I'm not kicking as much as I want to. How quickly did you come to that conclusion?
I would say pretty quick. I would say the coaches kind of pushed for that a little bit, and also, I mean, I would talk to my parents about it, and they would help me out with that situation and understanding that to not always like to be humble sometimes and take a step back, look at yourself and see if there's anything you can improve, because if their coaches are going to start the best player at the end of the day. And so if they don't think that's me, then I need to take a step back, see why Charles or Chase are in front of me, and then try to replicate what they're doing to make myself better.
So, Josh, an interesting fact about you, a lot of people I'm guessing don't know, is that you have two conjoined toes. Which I guess the reason that's intriguing is how does that affect your kicking at all? I guess is what I
Wait, wait,
wanted to ask.
wait. As a person who has a toe issue, I'm missing a pinky toe. What is a conjoined toe, Josh?
So they're webbed. So they're if these were my toes, so it's the two next to my big toe. They're connected probably all the way up to here, I would say.
Oh,
And then it's just like I can't like spread them or anything.
that
So they're
is
just like
that is
together.
wicked
Yeah.
cool. What I mean, that's got to be a great party game trick.
Yeah, I tell people and they're like, "What?" And then I gotta take my shoes off and then pull them out and then show them, and then everyone's like kind of weirded out, but they're like, "That's cool."
I do the same thing with my missing pinky toe. All right, so you heading into this season and the competition's ongoing. How would you judge your career to this point in the season? You've got an incredibly strong leg. You are handling kickoffs. What are your thoughts on how you performed at this point before we start to talk about goals moving forward?
I'm very happy with how I've performed, because when I came in, they brought me in as a punter who could also do like kickoffs, and like field goals was my third. And then I came in and then everything happened. We bring in Jackson, who's Aussie style. So that kind of pushed me to go. I realized that, okay, I don't want to be a backup because he's been doing that his whole life. So then I transitioned to working on field goals more. And so now I'm really happy at the spot I'm in, to where I am competing for the starting job on field goal and then working to keep my job on kickoff. So I'm happy with how I'm doing right now, for
So
sure.
how comfortable are you that it's money from a certain distance, and how comfortable are you a little further out where you feel good because you do have a really strong leg? So kind of give me an idea of your range right now and what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of strength, I'm not gonna miss short from 55 in. So I would say 55 in, I would be good, but it wouldn't be short. And then I would say my like money, like if I would say 50 in, I'm getting a lot more consistent. And then it's end of half, I would be comfortable hitting anything 60 yards and in.
Wow, nice. Caleb, you wanted to ask more about the web toes, right?
Well, yeah, because Josh Dave didn't even let you answer about how about how that affects kicking. Does that affect? Does that have any effect on kicking at all, or would you even know if it has an effect on kicking because you've had it your whole life?
I mean, I don't think it does. I mean,
Is it on your kicking?
I wouldn't really
Is
know.
it on the foot you kick with?
It's on both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
come on, Caleb, you didn't know that?
so yeah, I don't think it does. I don't feel it, but I also don't know what it would feel like to not have
It's
web
true.
toes and do it. So.
Hey, and we love visiting with Josh Turbyville here, live on the program. Josh, you had a couple of kickoffs last year that sailed wide and went out of bounds. I know that you were banged up. A lot of people don't know that. Can you talk about the challenge of being as accurate as you can possibly be with dealing with an injury at the same time?
Yeah, it's a lot of kicking is mental. So, and it's got to be the same every single time because it's kind of, I would say it's very similar to golf. So in golf, if you're thinking about something in your backswing, something's probably going to go wrong with your forward swing. So being banged up, the hardest part is you got to dial in and just kind of realize that football doesn't really care if you're banged up. Either way, you got to do your job. Like, no one's going to be like, oh, you can redo that because you're hurt. So it's just kind of something I had to learn last year, it being my first year, like actually playing. So the first couple, to be honest, I wasn't banged up. I was just overhyped and was just trying to swing really hard. But later in the season, when like you'd be sore, or like for me, it was my hip would start to hurt. So you just gotta, we talk about it all the time, like refocusing. And so when you're able to do that, then it should go smooth.
So I know you and your family, you grew up Tennessee fans and in Knoxville. Who is the one team that you would most like to kick a at the clock expires game winning kick against? Field goal.
I mean, Alabama. Like Chase's scenario, that's exactly what I want. And win, tie game, like that's the perfect.
It
scenario.
doesn't get a lot better than that, does it?
Yeah.
Josh, how given the fact that you grew up a Tennessee fan, I'm guessing you are. I know you're young, but you probably know from your family the legacy of Tennessee kickers kicking game winners against rivals, right? With Jeff Hall and James Wilhoit and people like that. Does that mystique ever kind of creep into you when you're working out with the team in Knoxville?
I mean, yes, especially when like I've worked out with James Wilhoit. He does a lot of training, and he'll come in from time to time and talk to us. So I've talked to him. Jeff Hall, he came and talked to the team, so I was able to see him and talk to him. But I feel like it's just kind of the standard now that if our name is called, you got to be able to go out there and make the field goal. So we try to train for that every day.
Josh, great stuff, buddy. I'll see you around. Best of luck this year, and we're always rooting for you at Off the Hook Sports. So we appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for
buddy.
having
Great
me.
stuff. That was a lot of fun visiting with Josh Turbyville, and Man, I don't know. Next guest we have on, I don't know what Caleb was going to ask him about. So I heard you have Peyronie's disease.
Is it not? I mean, he's a kicker.
You led with conjoined toes?
I thought that, is that not intriguing? You have conjoined toes. Is it an advantage or not? Just like, by the way, is it the world's longest field? I mean, the record for the longest field goal was set by a guy with like half a foot, and he had like a metal plate on the other part of it, right? I mean, and it was kind of an unfair record that he set because like your kicker.
Oh, it wasn't that unfair. For God's sake, he had half a foot.
He had metal on the other half.
It doesn't matter. You have half a foot. Try walking around with about half a foot. You're going to have to trust me on that.
I didn't say you don't have to walk. You just got to kick.
Try kicking with half a foot. I basically have half a foot. It's harder than you think.